So it definitely seems like part of what was being speculated on Reddit there, as well as what I mentioned in my last video for Recreators, that what if we had Recreators the anime within Recreators the anime, which we are getting, but we're getting much more than that. We're getting light novels, mangas, animes, all these types of things leading up into this just big meta, awesome, just fest that's going to happen. The new ending, though, is probably the most meta thing we've seen in the show. Literally having the Recreators characters interact with the creators of this anime and just how they use the imagery, that was just so awesome. Recreators, I feel like, is just gonna constantly have people say like, oh, we're just always having build-up, we're not getting explosions, it's always exposition, it's always world building. But that's why a lot of people, myself included, have really enjoyed Recreators, because it's taking the time to flesh out the world and show us different aspects that most anime are afraid to show us because they think we don't have an attention span unless we see a building explode or a magical girl get her head cut off. So the fact that we could have another 5 episodes before we even see this battle of just focusing on them creating these projects, watching the creators argue with one another, because each of these creators come from a different backgrounds. Some who get paid salaries, some who get paid by their books if they sell well. So they have all these different ideas on how they write their stories, how they go up for these projects. So of course they're gonna butt heads, they're gonna clash on how these side stories should link to one another. What's good? I mean, it's good for your children audience, but for someone who writes for a more mature audience, this is absolute trash. So I like seeing that because it's not afraid to just show us something that you would see in Shirobako, you know? That was what that series was. It was making anime, and I saw a lot of people say, like, this felt like you could have pulled it from that series. And absolutely, because this is a series that's not a, like, even though we got all these anime characters coming into the real world, it still does feel grounded in reality with how they're handling a lot of character interactions. So to dealing with the whole suicide situation, and now how creators are butting heads together in a work environment. You pull creators from different series, from different backgrounds, and make them work together on one giant-ass project, they're gonna butt heads quite a lot. So I think how they're handling these types of situations is why it is interesting, and why it is engaging, and why the world building and just the fleshing out is so much more interesting than the big explosions. Honestly, these types of episodes are more interesting to me than the action-focused episodes. I think definitely what we're building up to, this big arena battle, is going to be probably the best content in the series. But all the other action that we've had in the series is nothing compared to the stuff that we're getting with these types of episodes. I think there's going to be probably the vocal, it's going to be a minority because most people really like this type of stuff, but the people who are really against these kind of expositions and world-building episodes are very loud when they yell about it. But I have to say, Recreators, even with the kind of production issues that I saw within this episode, a lot of wide shots, they were pulling back a lot more than we're typically used to with Recreators, so you saw a lot of kind of like mediocre character models. Even with that said, it was such an interesting episode watching all these characters interact, butt heads, argue, come together, and kind of just smile at the end of the day, because we got male tsunderes, we got all these characters who at the end of the day, they know what they gotta do, but they are creative people. And when you have a creator who primarily works by himself or has a strict way of doing things, throwing them together and telling them to work together isn't always going to be okay. And I loved how they did that. But I have to say, that government official, the female there, who pretty much, she doesn't say this, but the way she treats these anime fans, or these anime creators, is essentially like she just smacks them upside the head and says, listen, you weeaboo fucks, you're gonna do this, we got unlimited money, if you say you need 10 people on your directing board, we'll get you 10 people. We don't give a shit, just stop your bitching and do the project because we're trying to save the world. And I love this girl because she absolutely just puts these anime creators in their place because they're just trying to whine like, oh, we got these deadlines, we can't do this, and then she's just like, shut the hell up, you're doing it. I love that. I just loved the interaction. It was just such a like, it felt like a mom just like trying to interact with their like teenage like kids who are just being like, no mom, I want to write my light novel. It's just, it was so entertaining. Recreators was pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, Brandon, did you watch last week's episode? The recap was so funny and was a lot different than other recaps. I did watch the recap, and yes, I thought it was probably one of the most interesting takes on a recap, but honestly, the people who were like, you gotta watch the recap, I think are completely wrong in my opinion. It had some humorous moments to it. I thought it was kind of interesting how they did the narration for the recap, but honestly, the people who skipped out on the recap, you didn't miss much. I mean, it was interesting how they handled it. I'm a little disappointed that episode 13 is a recap and it wasn't like a 12.5 like most series would do. So we are one episode down of a real episode, but what can you really do? But for the people who love the recap, hey, you got that. But for me, it was like, it was what it was. But I mean, I'm much more happy having these kinds of episodes back into the swing of things. Recreators with its second half is still just as engaging as it was with the first half, and I could even argue at times it feels more engaging. I can't wait to see what they do, and I hope we get much more building on this world and not just jumping in action nonstop, because this is the type of stuff that I really, really enjoy, and not enough anime take the risk of showing the viewer viewers these types of episodes because they think all we want is explosions and pretty colors, and I appreciate the staff of Recreators is taking this route and risk, because sadly, doing something like this is considered a risk in modern anime because we see what the norm is for what people want, and I'm just so thankful Recreators is going above and beyond. But let me know your thoughts on Recreators down in the comment section below. Did you love the episode? Did you hate it? What was your favorite moment? I definitely have to say just that female government worker is just star of the episode, and I think might be star of the series so far for me. Absolutely loved her interactions with these creators. But let me know some of your favorite moments down in the comment section below, and before you leave, smack that like button, share your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.